I'll swim through the sea, I'll climb to the mountain tops. Won't you come follow me? I'll take time to notice all that I see. And after I've come so far, you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. But life is a vision, that's how it should be. The world is a canvas, and the choices are free. At the end of the journey, where all is complete, they'll all wonder where I've gone, but you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. Our dreams last forever, for all that we know. The roads come together, and that's where we'll go. I'll ride with the horses, I'll swim through the sea, I'll climb to the mountain tops. Won't you come follow me? I'll take time to notice all that I see. And after I've come so far, you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. But life is a vision, that's how it should be. The world is a canvas, and the choices are free. At the end of the journey, where memories last forever. For all that we know, the roads come together, and that's where we'll go.
Ken, and we have Mr. Kinga. You both can come forward. If you want to do an oral testimony, come forward.
I'm Ken Leon Guerrero with the Guam Citizens for Public Accountability. I'm sitting here with a sense of deja vu because the last time I testified at a budget hearing was in 2016. Because this legislature is contemplating a budget that's very similar to the budget of Albuquerque, New Mexico. 565,000 people, and they have a budget that's 15 million, proposed budget, 15 million more than the
I'll ride with the horses, I'll swim through the
many accolades and celebrations.
Half a day, and welcome to Kandit News. I'm Johnny Rosario.
And I'm Troy Torres.
It is November 13, 2019, here at our studios in Tumon. Thank you for joining us.
We appreciate it. I have to go and get my notes in the office that I forgot right before I ran here. So could you just talk about that white car for a sec?
Yeah, but if everybody don't mind our office, we don't really have the... Well, I couldn't put the TV on correctly, so just bear with us. It's a little bit etsum, just like us, like the owners, a little bit crooked. Can you put up the white car, Prim? Sure. That is the lady with plates, Hyundai hatchback, plates Tumon 3688. She hit a golden retriever in Barragata next to Carbolito Elementary School. If you see this car, please report it. Call
472-8911.
472-8911.
Or Crime Stoppers 477-HELP. That's 4357. I also have to apologize because in the rush to start the show, I misspelled I misspelled journalism. You know, it happens. And we will get to that defense of Nick Delgado and journalism. That's our top story. That will be at the end of the show. But in the meantime, please bear with me because I'm running blind here. I didn't put my lineup up. I just know that there's just so much news to cover tonight. And I want to start with a woman named Teresa Adames Pereda. Now, Teresa Adames Pereda used to be a member of the Guam Board of Education. She was appointed to fill the unexpired term of, I cannot remember who, by former Governor Felix Camacho. This was years ago, and her term ended December 31, 2010. She was a short timer on the Board of Education. I don't entirely know what her background is, except that she is the sister-in-law of the owner of St. Paul's Christian School, and I believe they have a stake in the iLearn Academy. iLearn? No. The one where they use the tablets.
Yeah, I learned.
That's iLearn?
Yes.
That Paul Pineda, who is the owner of... Anyway, so Miss Pineda is the sister of Mr. Pineda's wife, and so that's what the relationship is. Anyway, this year, she caught a federal warrant and a federal case, and the case has been sealed by the District Court of Guam. What's that?
Sealed.
Okay.
Zip.
I thought it was a joint thing, like
No,
smoke a
no.
joint thing.
Zip.
Oh. But the citation for the charges against her are violations of the federal banking
Money laundering,
regulations.
right? Or bank.
I think it's
banking
bank fraud. Yeah, bank fraud. And when we looked closer into the story, I'm sorry, I'm not prepared whatsoever with all the smaller stories, but because I have her picture somewhere in the WhatsApp. Anyway, so she used to work for Dr. Robert Gatewood, who is Chief Judge Francis Tidinko Gatewood of the District Court. That's her husband. Miss Dr. Gatewood is a dentist, and allegedly, Miss Pineda had been siphoning money from the dental clinic for a number of years in a substantial amount. The case has been sealed, and Chief Judge Francis Tidinko Gatewood has recused herself from the case. It's unclear why the case has been sealed, whether there are co-conspirators, whether she has pled out and is testifying against her co-conspirators, which is most of the time the reason that cases are sealed is because the government is working with the defendant on other cases, on other FBI, DEA, Homeland Security, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, blah, 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 IRS in this case, cases involving other people, most especially co-defendants, if there are co-defendants in this case, or if she has knowledge of other types of crimes, and it doesn't have to be relegated to just bank fraud. She could have knowledge of other crimes, and the federal government could be using her for that in whatever plea agreement that she may have. Now, it's too early to tell. The case has been sealed. The judge has recused herself, obviously, because, well, she allegedly stole from her husband, I think, right? Yeah, the Dr. Gatewood's clinic. Anyway, that was just that was one story that we found today in district court filings. Then there is in local court, Kandit did publish an update to the Jason Song trial, and Johnny and Eric have been the ones who've been covering that trial in the courtroom of Judge Vern Perez. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. So Johnny is gonna
today actually, or you want me to read that? I should read it, right?
Yeah, and then the breaking news about that, the second story we haven't filed yet. Here we go.
Can you just go to Troy's computer, though, Prim? You have to. There we go.
There you go.
I got it here on my phone. Attorney Lenny Rapadas, who is prosecuting veteran Jason Song on charges that he raped a woman, put on the stand a witness who directly contradicted the testimony of the complainant who accused Mr. Song of rape. From the start of the trial, the prosecution has had problems presenting to the jury testimony and evidence that did not contradict claims by the complainant that she was raped. As a matter of fact, when the complainant took the stand, she contradicted parts of her own testimony several times. She even alleged that statements made by police officers who testified in the case were incorrect. Throughout the trial, the complainant maintained that she and Mr. Song went to Mr. Song's home, where she stayed in his car parked outside the gate to his home. She said she was scared to leave the car and was held against her will by Mr. Song. Mr. Rapadas on October 28 presented his last witness, who was with Mr. Song and the complainant for parts of the day in question. The witness said that when she first saw the complainant, she was exiting Mr. Song's home with Mr. Song. She was not in the car. The defense did not present any witnesses before closing arguments began. Both Mr. Rapadas and Mr. Song's counsel, Attorney David Lujan, presented their arguments to the jury before court ended today. Tomorrow, Judge Vernon Perez will provide the jury with instructions before they enter deliberations.
Now, there's something more to this trial that involved the last witness on October 28th, right? This is pretty exciting news.
They asked her what was her relationship with Mr. Song, and she said that her and Mr. Song were homeboys. They're good friends. They're neighbors. They live right next door to each other.
Okay.
And I guess they grew up in the same village.
Okay.
And they asked the witness what was her relationship with, if she knew the victim or the victim's mother. And apparently she was good friends with Renee, with the victim's mom.
Okay. What's Renee's last name again?
Mesa.
Mesa. Okay.
And so according to the testimony, this witness had a conversation with the victim's mother, and they talked about it,
Okay.
about the alleged rape, and how the witness felt like that, her theory of what happened.
Okay.
And the mother's response was she doesn't know what's true anymore.
Wow.
And mind you, they never called the mother to the stand, ever. And the mother was there when they went on the alleged crime happened November 2nd. They reported it November 11th. They spoke to, they got her in again November 14th, November 28th, and December something.
This is all last year, right?
This is all, no, 2016.
Oh, 20. Okay.
And all 4 times the mother was present.
Okay.
But never once have they called the mother to the stand.
Is the mother still on the run
yes,
with an active warrant?
They have not picked her up yet.
Okay, and so obviously she would be a crucial witness for either the prosecution or defense, or for the truth of the matter.
Right.
Right? And so what this last witness is saying is that, and this is the prosecution's witness.
Yes.
The prosecution's witness told the jury that the mother said, Renee Mesa said,
She
that she
doesn't
know
what's
what the
true.
truth is.
Yeah, she doesn't know what's true anymore.
Was there something regarding drugs?
Yeah, that according to the witness who has immunity, says that all Renee wanted was drugs.
Wow. Now that is an interesting trial.
It is.
That is a very interesting trial.
So
what is alleged is that this was a plot against Jason Song because they were trying to extort him for money and for drugs. Would that be correct?
Yes.
My goodness.
So the closing arguments were pretty. It took a while. Lenny Rapadas, he didn't take. Maybe he took a whole 40 minutes.
Okay.
But David Lujan, the whole day, was closing arguments. He was explaining the law. I love that guy. And of course, he named the jurors by name. Like,
Did he do that thing where he's like, okay, now
yes.
forgive me because I'm an old man.
Yes. And my writing's a little bit crooked.
Did he have the big the flipping chart?
And he pointed when he's saying there's 2 judges in a trial. The judge who says the law and instructs to make the hearing go,
Okay.
right? And them, 12 of them. And
Yeah.
they're all equal, and he named them. I'm like, I would have never, I want him, if I'm in trouble, I want that man.
My favorite quote from him is, even the sexual, the sex.
We got him on camera today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Do we have the
Fred,
footage?
Can you play a little bit?
Tomorrow maybe.
Tomorrow? So we'll have David Lujan on camera tomorrow.
Yeah,
But-
in his closing arguments.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we got
Very
him on
nice.
camera.
Darn, too bad we can't play that now.
I know. too
Okay.
bad.
Well, I emailed it to you.
Okay. Very cool. Now, there is another... Sorry, I'm just getting messages.
The next story.
Yes, that was for the next story. So the Guam Police Department needs the community's help, needs all of your help to locate the
They
guy,
don't have the shooter?
the guy or the girl who shot A 27-year-old woman at Paget, Manilao today.
This morning at 1:50 a.m.
Yes, it says this is the release from the Guam Police Department. Guam Police Department Sergeant Paul Tapau, who tonight sent this to all the media. He says the Guam Police Department is currently investigating. I swear to God, this is not my grammatical error. This is copy and paste from Sergeant Paul Tapau. Sorry, buddy, I'm gonna throw you under the bus on this one. I already had one grammatical error tonight. The Guam Police Department is currently investigating a shooting incident that occurred at around 1:50 a.m. today in Route 15 Paget, Manila, by the entrance to the Thousand Steps. A 27-year-old woman sustained injuries from the shooting and was transported to Guam Memorial Hospital for treatment and care and was listed in stable condition. Oh, I'm glad she's okay. I mean, not okay, but I'm glad she's alive. The Guam Police Department is seeking the help from the community relative to this investigation. Should anyone may have witnessed this incident or have any sorry, Paul, or have any information that can help the investigation, please call our dispatchers at 472-8911 or 475-8615-7. Information can also be submitted anonymously through the Guam Crime Stoppers tip line at guam.crimestoppersweb.com. Once again, that's guam.crimestoppersweb.com. All tip information will remain completely confidential, and a cash reward of up to $1,000 could be paid if the information provided leads to an arrest and the grand jury indictment. And I just checked my accountant. He says, I'm rich. $1,000, man. Money, says Cardi T. More information will be provided to the media and the public as it becomes available. That's according to...
Thank you, Sergeant Paul Tapau.
And we rushed this information out for GPD when he sent it, almost as fast as he rushed the writing of this release. But everyone gets the point. This is important information. If anyone knows anything about this shooting, Guam Police Department is asking for your help. Please call them at 472-8911 or 475-8615-7. Or you can leave an anonymous tip the Guam Crime Stoppers webpage, guam.crimestoppersweb.com. Sorry, this would flow a lot more smooth if I actually did my lineup thing the right way. I'm kind of running blind here because I just don't want to miss whatever news. There was.
When do you want to talk about this?
Can we just run a 1 minute break so I can like think? 3 minutes. Yeah. So we'll see you guys back in 3 minutes. We're gonna take a break so I can assemble.
I'll ride with the horses, I'll swim through the sea, I'll climb to the mountain tops, won't you come follow me? I'll take time to notice all that I see, and after I've come so far, you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. But life is a vision, that's how it should be. The world is a canvas, and the choices are free. At the end of the journey, we're things last forever. For all that we know, the roads come together, and that's where we'll go.
For many accolades and celebrations.
Buenas and welcome back. We remembered the two stories that we almost left out of tonight's newscast that are rather significant. The first is regarding weather situation. The U.S. National Weather Service earlier today posted something about a weather disturbance that's behind Tropical Storm Feng Shen. I hope I'm saying that right. Anyway, they said, we are aware of model forecasts of a second disturbance or circulation developing behind Tropical Storm Feng Shen. Long-range model forecasts beyond 4 and 5 days have shown great uncertainty with this second disturbance. Some early morning model runs show a very weak circulation moving westward through Micronesia and passing near or south of Guam Sunday or Monday. Other models show a trough as it passes by Guam. It is still too early to declare any certainty with the second disturbance, but we are watching an area of showers and thunderstorms southeast of Majuro as it slowly heads west. If this becomes a threat to any islands in the region, we will let you know. So the thing that's disturbing about this weather statement is that for the first time, I believe this year, there is a storm that has some of the global forecast models showing it will go south of Guam, where all of the others have been going.
North.
Oh my God, is that Little Caesar's Pizza?
I told you I got that.
I didn't realize. I kind of. Are you bringing it this way, Prim? God bless you. Oh, thanks. Oh, sorry. That was a rather big squirrel. That was like, oh, I just saw pizza, and I was like, oh, squirrel. Anyway, so. Unlike all the other
I
stuff.
was able to get that because me and Prim were treated for lunch today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, by Jacob? Nakamura? Good old Jacob. Really love his investigations.
Me too.
So, all the other storms that we've tracked, or not tracked, but that we have been reporting on, that Barbara Panty Down Brown has been reporting on, has shown that these storms are going to go north of Guam. And all of them, I believe, have gone north of Saipan. Including this Feng Shen thing, that it's curving like this away from northwest or northeast from the major islands of the Marianas. This one is the first one where some forecasts are showing that it's going to go south of Guam. So Barbara Pansy Down Brown,
And she's real.
yes, she is more or less concerned about this one. Oh, thank you, Cello. Oh, that is crooked. She is more she is more or less concerned about this one just because of the difference in its track and wind conditions and warm sea temperatures. And so this is something that we're going to, I mean, we've been following the other ones and we've been reporting on those, but this one in particular, we hope dissipates before it gets anywhere near here. Because if it doesn't, this is something to watch and something to prepare for. Now, earlier today, I spoke with a senior at George Washington High School. And very smart girl. She happens to know a lot about her rights and a lot about the law.
Oh, great.
And well, she was forced to. So this is what happened. During a haunted house that George Washington High School put on before Halloween, she is one of those, student leaders, and there were other class council people from lower grade levels and all that stuff who were there to have this haunted house for kids. And she tweeted let me just bring this stuff up. Actually, I can. And I had to ask her to navigate all of these tweets for me because I didn't understand who was saying what and who was who, because they have all these dumb names on Twitter.
Okay.
And it's not like they don't have. It's not like at Johnny Rosario, or
It's not like old people.
mine is at Troy Torres 888 or something like that. Do you have Twitter?
No.
Twitter's so dumb. Anyway.
Dude, Facebook gets me in enough trouble. I ain't having no Twitter, okay?
Well, so she sent me these tweets, and these tweets are how it all started, but then it monstered into something else. And so, hold on one second. I don't want that. It's on my email. Oh, here we go. Sorry, everyone. Let me just try to get to these.
That's too far down.
I don't know why I cannot find this email. Kandit. Oh, I think it's this one. Oh, here we go.
Mic check.
So I'm not going to say her name because she's a minor, and I spoke with her and I told her I'm not going to say your name or any of the names of the students involved. Prim, please don't cast to my screen at all during this because it has identifying information. So there is a tweet that she sent out while she was at this Halloween event, and it says, "Seeing more people dressed as bunnies than snakes." And so it was because she saw, it was a funny thing. It was an inside joke that she had with her friends about something completely different. So as all things go with high school drama, right? A girl who was dressed as a bunny, who happens to be a George Washington High School student, came up to her and asked, confronted her in the haunted house and said, "Why the F are you talking about me?" And she thought it was about her. And so then this Twitter war erupts where that girl who was offended began making threats against this senior at George Washington High School. And it got to a point where this girl who was offended had another girl with her and had their gang confront this other girl and her friends, and they were about to fight in the parking lot of the school. If it weren't for some people who got in the way, something physical and a riot would have sparked up. So in order to diffuse the situation, the senior approached George Washington High School adults and said, "Hey, this is going on. This is a situation that needs to be diffused." Very adult about it. She's a very mature girl. And nothing was done. So she filed a police report. She did the research on the laws on bullying, cyberbullying, harassment, and according to all of this stuff, if you read all this stuff, it's very clear that this girl is really being bullied, cyberbullied, harassed repeatedly by these other students. And so because no one was helping her except for her mom and her friends, she took it upon herself to research the laws, and she filed a police report with the Guam Police Department and an official complaint to John Fernandez, the superintendent, who's off island right now, Dr. Kelly Sokola, who's the deputy superintendent of education, Police Chief Steve Ignacio, and the George Washington High School administration. And she cites and the actual text of the laws that are being violated, and then she explains exactly what had happened and what has led to this point and how it's an unsafe condition for her and her friends. And the big problem that I see here, aside from, of course, no one should feel unsafe in especially at a school where you're there to learn, and parents send their kids off not thinking that their child is going to be hurt or whatever, right? The big problem is the response from the school and how this has risen to the point where this is a police problem, or a problem that the police have to get involved in. And the response from the school administration is, why don't we bring you guys into a room together so we can work it out? And this girl doesn't feel safe around this other girl.
Right.
And so 2 girls who are involved in the harassment and the bullying or whatever, they get suspended for 3 days. The complainant says that's not enough. They're just going to come back and they're going to be madder than ever. And as a matter of fact, in one of the tweets that she presents to the media, one of the girls says, oh, it's pretty crude. It's something like y'all think this is. Oh, and by the way, this is all over a boy. Just FYI. One of the girls put something. She says, LMAOOO. I guess that's a thing. Y'all really RILY played victims. Suspension ain't gonna stop me. Like I said, you got the wrong one if you think I give a FUCC. Well,
That's still continuing, so
no, I'm just a little disappointed in the grammar and the spelling, but that's clearly a threat to the safety of this girl and her friends. That she's threatening that when she comes back from suspension, she's gonna do something to this girl, and the GW administration is not doing what they're supposed to do. So I reached out to the Board of Education to ask, what John Fernandez's thoughts on this whole situation may be, and we're waiting for that right now. Can we take a 1-minute break?
I'll ride with the horses, I'll swim through the sea, I'll climb to the mountain tops. Won't you come follow me? I'll take time to notice all that I see, and after I've come so far, you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. But life is a vision, that's how it should be. The world is a canvas, and the choices are free. At the end of the journey, where all is complete, they'll all wonder where I've gone, but you know where I'll be. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. I'll fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away home. roads come together, and that's where we'll go.
So
Mics are
this
hot.
my
I just want to
my
say,
cigarette's hot.
I do not, this bullying in school, okay, it should be zero tolerance.
That's your actual policy.
Zero tolerance.
This girl sent me that she cited the policy that says exactly that.
Yeah.
That they have a zero tolerance policy at the Department of Education for bullying.
Well, me as a parent, I've been through this, where my son and another boy over a girl. My boy left the girl ended up with a new boy, and the boy started to taunt my son at school. It was his senior year. My son, of course, tells me what's been going on at school, and all I tell him is, son, you're graduating this year. If anything happens, you're not gonna graduate, so don't mess with me. Right? You get into a fight at school, when I get home, you're gonna deal with me too, right? That's I'm the parent, you're the kid, right? So it just keep the boy. So what I do, I tell his dad, go find his dad and that boy, and you go, cause you're friends. Go talk to him. Make them duke it out. I don't care.
outside of the campus.
Get it done, right? Because I'm not gonna worry about my son graduating. That was the focus. So that was supposed to. The parents of the boy said, "Oh, don't worry, we're gonna handle it. He's not home right now, but we'll talk to him."
Okay.
So of course that didn't happen. Still, so I get a phone call in the middle of the day that my son had enough and he's gonna wreck him, right? So I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get there to the school, right? So when I get to the school, I tell the mother of the boy, I said, she's like, where are you? Yeah, I'm the one here. I said, I am sorry that I have a job, but I am on my way. Stay there because I'm coming for you. So I go there to the school, and I'm speaking with the discipline people. The moment I walk into the room, the boy stands up like he's tough to me, and I lose it. Huh? You're tough, boy. Get over here, right? So the process goes, and I'm sitting there, I'm trying to listen to what's going on around me, and apparently the principal and everyone else knows this kid, this troublemaker kid. Okay? But they don't know my son. So right there tells me, why don't they know my son? Because my son's not a troublemaker, right? That the principal is trying to needs to see a picture of my son because he doesn't know who's Michael. Okay, you're not getting the picture. You know that kid.
Because he's a troublemaker.
Because he's a troublemaker.
Always in the office.
And you don't know my son. What does that tell you? We don't need to investigate anything, right? That I tell that principal, from this day forward, I already warned you. If something happens, if one hair is touched on my son's body from that kid, you will be responsible for my son. I will hold this school and the whole GDOE responsible if one hair on my son's body is touched.
And I think that really is the law, Bob Klitsky's Adequate Public Education Act. Responsibility will rest with school officials, with the superintendent of education, and with the board of education. Personal liability.
Yeah.
Especially in a situation like that where you already tried to diffuse it. This girl on her own is trying to do just that. She's trying to find a peaceful way out of this, trying to alert school officials that, something's terribly wrong here. This girl obviously is on a path of violence. Do something about it. She went to the police. And it's not even for the school.
Why is it? Where's the principal? Where are the people that are supposed to enforce these rules?
We'll try to get a hold of the principal tomorrow to see if there are things that he hasn't let the girl know, that maybe that there are actions being taken, maybe they're working with the police or whatever the case may be. But obviously,
because my kid ain't gonna miss curriculum because of these girls. That is you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not going to allow her to miss school. If I have to go with my kid to the school to make sure she's safe, I will do that until they do something about these girls.
Yeah. So she came to Kandit. and she wanted us to
Oh, good.
at least expose this.
We're touching kids?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, no, we're not touching kids, but
Kids know about us? Damn.
yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And so it's a good thing we stopped cussing. There's at least one senior at George Washington High School.
Owner of Facebook. You're boring.
No kidding. No kidding. Well, we have great news to report, and that is yesterday, Senator Tello Taitigui told us, oh, we can't show it.
Oh, we
Can't show it,
cannot.
yeah.
Oh.
Senator
Okay, my paper.
Senator Tello Taitigui told us that she was working with Senator Therese Terlahi on reforms to the Medical Malpractice Mandatory Arbitration Act. This is the law that has prevented people, especially those who are poor, even middle class, even upper middle class, from being able to afford to go after doctors who have screwed up a procedure, have misdiagnosed people, and David Lebowski and I were talking about this earlier today when he came by the office, and he told me something that I didn't even think about before. He said that hundreds of people have been coming up to him on Guam and at the medical offices in the Philippines where lots of Guam people are. They recognize him from the media. Sometimes he wears his Asher Dean shirt, right? And they tell him, it's not just the I'm there to support you. They also tell him about their problems, their experiences with medical malpractice on this island and how they're afraid to ever say anything because these are their doctors, or they were their doctors, or they're the doctor's friends, that they're afraid of. And I thought, yeah, no kidding. Like, I remember when my grandmother years ago was misdiagnosed and told something terrible that didn't come to fruition, that she was on the wrong medication and all that stuff. I mean, it made me think, has this happened to someone in at least every family on this island? Do you have your own?
Yeah.
So
But
this is
even just the recent, the people that contacted Kandit recently, the source, these are from workers that work for a doctor.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah. You wanna talk about that a little bit?
A little bit. I don't want to get in too much because I'm hoping it's under investigation, but I don't know what investigation or where it goes because there's no board for this, and this board is, there is a doctor's office in, I would say, Upper Tumon, that treats patients. And as I recall, the doctor has to have a license, the RN has a license, the LPN has a license, and an MA has a license. So there's like these steps, right? The certain positions you need a license for.
Because they have certain things that you do.
Certain things you do.
Okay.
MAs, they're the intake. They're the ones that do your blood pressure, check your heart rate.
That's a medical assistant, right?
Yes,
Okay.
medical assistant. LPNs can give you shots, and then everything else an MA does, right?
Okay.
And then an RN, she's the one that can start the IV. She's the one, the real in-depth stuff. She's the one that oversees the LPN and the MA.
Okay.
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 She can also give the shots, and those positions you have to take a test for, and you have to get a license,
Yes.
right? So you're only allowed to do certain things. Well, this doctor in Upper Tumon apparently is making MAs. There's no when you have a clinic, you have to have a staff, and that there's certain things that you have to have in order for you to run your clinic efficiently.
And certain pay levels too assigned
Yes.
to the kind of positions,
Okay?
right?
Yes. If the doctor's not there, but if the doctor's there but not in the room, the RN can start the IV, but the doctor has to be on site to verify that it's going okay. He doesn't have to check on you as long as the RN did the IV, it's going well. She's putting her reports in, right? Well, this doctor is making people at the MA level do procedures that they're not allowed to do.
Sounds like the governor's legal counsel.
Yes, very much so. So, Kandit just got that information today from a source. I want to give you the doctor's name so we can let everybody, but I do want to give this agent or this doctor to the right people so they can investigate. because that is medical malpractice.
Absolutely.
So
But also, the allegation is that the doctor is firing people for not doing.
and the doctor keeps saying, "Oh, it's my license that you have to worry about." It's not just her license. It's also their license. So that MA who went to school for how long to become a medical assistant, who's probably working up, because you usually work your way up. So MAs, they keep going to school and then they become an LPN, or MAs can go straight into, go to college and get an RN, but they have to be an MA in order to make a little money to survive, right? Their licenses will get taken away.
And their future.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's a big deal. I really hope that our voices, most especially David's voice, is getting to places.
Well, it is, because not just Senator Telo Sadigui and Senator Therese Sirlahi are doing they're working on legislation, but Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes, we're very happy to report, also is working on legislation. May I see this? Mm-hmm. So a draft that we've been able to get our hands on, and this is just a draft for now, right? And that's why we don't want to show it or whatever. But the speaker, according to this draft, scraps the Medical Malpractice Mandatory Arbitration Act. Just scraps it.
Okay, I know we shouldn't be counting our eggs before they hatch, right? But guys, we are on the right track. We're getting the information out there. And I'm happy. This makes me so happy.
She replaces it with something, but she replaces it with something that's very reasonable and that very much respects people's due process rights. You don't have to pay for due process as well.
You don't have to pay $60,000 for due process.
I'm nearly speechless about this draft measure purportedly by Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes, and I mean, great job. If the final product on this is anywhere near the concept that we see in this draft bill, you got our support, Speaker. This is excellent stuff. And now I can imagine that doctors would not be happy with her at all. And Speaker, that's okay, lady. We'll back you up 100%. Don't you worry. Now, moving on to our top two stories, and we're going to start with Haihun. There was a story that I put out earlier today, and then there's a story that Johnny followed up with right before this newscast began. Is that what you were laughing at? Sorry, Jacob Nakamura is a whippersnapper. Sorry.
He is on it.
Yeah, on it for the chronic. So, Haihun is the governor's legal counsel, right? So I'm gonna take a stab at the first story, and then Johnny's gonna tell you about the second story that we put up. This guy owes taxes on Talo Verde property. When we looked into this, we've been telling this story, or we've been bringing you this story about how Haihun, the governor's legal counsel, who doesn't even have a full license, has owed taxes for the 2018 property tax assessment.
Even 2017.
Yeah. So, well, here it goes. Governor's legal counsel Haihun not only is practicing without a full license, he also acquired one of the most exclusive parcels of land on Guam and had not paid the taxes on it as of the publication earlier this year of the public notice of the 2018 delinquent tax assessments. According to Department of Revenue and Taxation Director Daphne Mansipit Shimizu, Mr. Hun owes the Treasurer of Guam $396.90 for property listed as M19T13102L95. The parcel is within the super rich and exclusive Talo Verde development along Ipao Road to Muning. It is unclear why Mr. Hun failed to pay his taxes, whether he's paid it since, or why his tax liability became delinquent. At the time of the tax assessment, Mr. Hun was a well-paid Associate General Counsel at the Bank of Guam, where his mother-in-law, Governor Leon Guerrero, was the president and CEO at the time. The inability to get any information out of Adelup about this issue and others is just par for the course in Ms. Leon Guerrero's record of failure to be transparent about issues more controversial than proclamations and social events. Kandit has asked Ms. Leon Guerrero's office whether she was aware that she hired her son-in-law as her legal counsel at a time when he had no license whatsoever to practice law. Ms. Leon Guerrero's term began January 7, 2019. Mr. Hun did not receive the reissuance of his temporary license to practice law from the Supreme Court until January 11, 2019. Mr. Hun received his temporary license on August 10, 2016, when he began working for the Public Defender Services Corporation. Guam law allows temporary licensure for 5 years to attorneys who haven't passed the Guam bar examination and who will work for either the Attorney General's office, the PDSC, or the alternate public defender. Those with a temporary license are to serve full-time in one of those agencies continuously. A year later, after he received his temporary license, he resigned from the PDSC to work as Associate General Counsel at the Bank of Guam, when his mother-in-law was the president and CEO of the bank. His duties included the daily provision of legal advice, which according to Guam law and laws throughout Micronesia and San Francisco, where the bank has branches, is either not ethical or not legal without full licensure. Mr. Hun was dispensing legal advice and acting as an attorney without any kind of license whatsoever until January 11, 2019. During that period, he not only acted as an attorney for the bank's headquarters, he also constantly provided legal advice to Ms. Leon Guerrero's transition team between October 8, 2018 through the start of Ms. Leon Guerrero's term in office. Not only has the governor's office refused to answer our questions on this, the Department of Administration still has not provided Kandit with Mr. Hun's employment document called a GG1. It is a public document. That fact has never stopped the Leon Guerrero administration from withholding documents that belong to the public and not to them. Now, more on the land thing will be found just tonight is even more damning information about these property taxes that Mr. Hun owed. We thought just in 2018, but now it seems it's gone also in 2016 and 2017.
Hi, Hun, the governor's legal counsel, who hasn't passed the Guam bar examination, didn't just owe delinquent property taxes in 2018. He was delinquent in 2017 and 2016 as well. It is unclear whether Mr. Hun has paid his delinquent property taxes for previous years, as Adaloop refuses to answer any questions on this matter. But that's not all. The property in the exclusive Talo Verde development that Mr. Hun owns was purchased from former Governor Eddie Calvo's Director of Policy, Arthur Clark. Land documents show the transaction occurred in 2015. Mr. Hun's mother and father-in-law, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero and First Gentleman Attorney Jeff Cook, are listed in the land documents as well. They are the guarantees of the land in 3 of the 4 documents Kandit found. Kandit also found the survey documents for the Talo Verde development, which includes the parcel owned by Mr. Hun and for which he has not paid his property taxes as of publication of the public notice of 2018 delinquent tax assessment. The land documents follow.
And you can find them in www.kanditnews.com. It's all the documents, the recording instruments, the survey reports on the Talo Verde subdivision itself, as well as the parcel of land that Mr. Hun owns and has been delinquent on paying property taxes. So here's the deal. This dude is the governor's legal counsel. It is.
Does the law state, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Does the law state what government agencies give you that temporary licensure?
It's the Attorney General's office, the Public Defender Services Corporation, and the alternate public defender.
And what about the governor's office?
No, but the Supreme Court granted the temporary licensure for it, though.
I want to see that. Are we privy to that application? Is that part
I don't know.
of?
We can ask them. We can ask Sean.
I think we should see whose signatures are on it.
Yeah.
Who gave the license?
We could ask. Good idea. So, aside from the Attorney General of Guam, actually, as a matter of fact, even more so than the Attorney General of Guam, the governor's legal counsel is the person who guides legal policy throughout the island because he or she is the governor's legal counsel.
He's probably the one that said to hire Mike Phillips.
Or probably gave that doctor the okay to license or to do medical procedures or to have people without licenses do medical procedures they're not licensed to do.
Or he even told her, go ahead and fire or put the warden on the governor.
This administration's crazy. Just straight up.
This administration just thinks Guam is dumb.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to the victor go the spoils.
They didn't think about Kandit. I'm telling you,
well,
bro.
remember, what did Connie Jo say?
He said, oh, don't worry, Lauren. Nobody listens to Kandit.
That makes me feel good. You know that I got a message from Cruz Metgood on Facebook, and he said, you know, I don't always, or I disagree with many of the things that you say.
I like that.
But sometimes I'm impressed. And let me just explain how much respect I have for sentiments like that. We're never going to get anywhere if we agree on everything as a community, because that means no one's challenging anyone to dig deeper or to look closer at what's going on. The only reason that we've had any success in investigating and finding things that are corrupt in this government is because, well, we've disagreed with what the government has said. And we thought, hey, that doesn't make sense. That's not reasonable. So we asked questions. And that's not just us, it's also the other media. Which is why, you know, yesterday I was a little angry. And so I wrote up that editorial for Kandit about transparency, about how this administration just plainly lacks any transparency and how...
Or respect. It goes back to respect, Troy.
Yeah, they don't respect the people.
Respect the people.
And Nick Delgado, well, I'm sorry. First, can we show the people that the
how
victor...
the governor treated...
how to the victor go the spoils, and how Hai Hyun, you know, that's her son-in-law, but we found a clip of him saying that he's in the campaign. Can we play that short clip?
Hi, I'm Hai Hyun. I'm in with Lou and Josh for a better Guam.
This actually is taken from a longer clip with a lot of other people in it who did the whole, like, they held up the sticker and they're like, I'm in. And I know at least 3 of them in that video who've come up to me and said that they're so disappointed with the governor. So they were probably fretting, like, oh man, I hope they don't play that part. 'Cause they're probably, I'm embarrassed. I voted for her. Well, you know, it's not like the choices were great or anything.
Well,
but
I went all the way, I went with Dennis all the way until I couldn't, until the wheels fell off.
I posted a memory from 2 years ago in 2017 when Senator Dennis Rodriguez on Facebook on my personal page.
Can you imagine if that turned out well for us? If Dennis got, how do you, like, I think a lot of Kandit's ideas would be, you know, they would at least think about it or give us that much.
That's
I think.
true. But it's just the only thing is that it would be bad for business here because then Kandit News Group would be boring.
True.
And, well, actually, we would just be all on Eddie Cabo stuff right now. But Governor Lilian Guerrero has given us a reason to get
have
off,
a platform.
to get off Governor Eddie Cabo's back. Because hers very clearly
is bigger. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I love that so much. Now, we had a story today that just blew up. There are thousands of people who've been reading and reacting to it, and I just love it so much. This is Johnny's story, and when we're done, when Johnny's done reporting the story, we're going to talk about Nick Delgado and journalism.
Do you want to play that? The video of Nick, of her running away from Nick first, or this? Read this first.
No, you're right. Let's play that video first. This is thanks to my cousin Ray Gibson at The Point. We were able to get this video off of his feed, and we're happy to bring it to you now.
So, how did the meeting go?
I don't really want to comment. Sensitive stuff.
Right.
So.
But it looks like the guys came out. They didn't want to comment either. Some gave thumbs up. So it must have been
It
positive.
was a good informational meeting, yes.
Yeah, a lot of it I'm sure had to do with the discussion of those letters that we spoke about yesterday.
Don't want to comment on that.
Was there anything that you can say about what
Nick,
progress
I don't want
is
to
going to be
comment,
made?
so don't ask any more questions. It's really very sensitive information, and I'll deal with it as appropriate.
Is there any information that isn't sensitive that you can discuss
No,
with us about
there
this?
is none.
Then she looks like she dropped something on the ground and got into the car, and I'm sure that that one of the guys from the Department of GPD and their executive security team will pick it up and go along. If you tuned into that for a second, you go, what am I listening to again? It is the
So, Kandit we obtained a secret recording. Someone in that meeting recorded, that meeting was 52 minutes long. And the reason we will not release the entire recording is because there are some identifying marks, and that will reveal the source, and we cannot do that. But other media stations also have this recording, and they've been reporting on it as well. PNC reported on it tonight. Ray Gibson this morning said that he was going to review the recording that he received as well. And we'll probably hear more about that on his show tomorrow morning. So Johnny was able to review it and write this very telling story about what happened and how screwed up the prison is. Go for it, Chelo.
Correctional officers told the governor that the biggest problem facing the prison is its director. Quote, "The main problem we're having right now is the director, Samantha Brennan," end quote. A Department of Corrections officer told Governor Lou Leon Guerrero during a meeting among correctional officers and the governor Tuesday morning. Kandit obtained a secret recording of the meeting. DOC officers detailed a long list of problems and sometimes became frustrated with the governor, who defended the actions of the director, provided information on some solutions, and admitted to being the person who decided to place the warden on administrative leave. Quote, "The biggest problem, if you look at those two letters sent to the island leaders, they have two things in common, and it's her," end quote. The officer went on to tell the governor. Why was a GPD officer, with all due respect to our brothers up there from GPD, referring to Miss Leon Guerrero's bodyguards present at the meeting? Why was a GPD officer placed as the deputy? The officer asked the governor. Why wasn't Major Anton Ugin with a master's degree? Why wasn't Major May Kirigua made the deputy? Miss Leon Guerrero interrupted the officer, telling him curtly, "That was my decision." He snapped back, "Well, we felt insulted by that." "Well, it wasn't to insult anybody," Miss Leon Guerrero replied. "It was my decision because I felt there was so much conflict and things going on. I wanted to bring someone in that was not familiar with all the inside politics that happened inside this organization." The officer kept trying to speak, but the governor repeatedly interrupted him by speaking over him. Officers revealed that certain correctional officers allegedly involved in the conspiracy that led to the downfall of former Lieutenant Jeffrey Limo still are employed at DOC and are the people from whom Miss Brennan is receiving advice. Quote, "The thing about it, ma'am, is that the director is surrounding herself without seeing it, the people who were involved with the Jeffrey Limo. I'm just saying," end quote. Another officer explained. His colleague jumped in saying, quote, "We gotta be honest, they're a crew," end quote. "I don't know who the Limo group is," the governor told them. "Who are these people?" The officers changed the subject. The governor admitted to the officers that the administration is only 1 to 2 periods behind in the payment of overtime to the officers. "These officers and myself, we sacrifice a lot away from our families with overtime, and then we don't get paid," one officer told the governor. An officer implored the governor to increase the number of correctional officers on the DOC force. "I don't know what we're waiting on," the officer posted to the governor. "Are you guys waiting for another Mashburn incident?" He was referring to the late correctional officer Douglas Wayne Mashburn, who was stabbed multiple times to death on June 24, 1987, during a prison riot at the end of his shift. He was the lone officer attending to the unit where murderers and other violent criminals were held. Mr. Mashburn was only 36 years old when he died. He was survived by his wife, 2 daughters, his father, and his siblings. The governor responded to the officer by telling him she's working on streamlining hiring for DOC officers. The streamlining will include hiring qualified officers who will become unqualified officers who will become qualified on the job as they become trained and attend peace officer standards and training certification. She said that 20 officers will be coming online soon and that her goal is to hire a total of 100 officers. Another officer told the governor that management is not providing the leadership needed for the force. He said the director is a poor manager and that she is causing officers to quit their jobs. Quote, I don't know if some people here are scared of retaliation, but there are a few people here ready to quit, walk out because the way things run. We go in there, we do our jobs, whether we're short or not. I mean, we try our very best. But on the other hand, anybody tell me here when anyone in management came up to us to say we're doing a good job, end quote. Several officers replied in unison, quote, zero, quote, never. The officers said they don't have a problem with middle management. Their problem's with the director. Morale is at an all-time low, another officer told the governor. I believe it is irreparable at this point. I believe any kind of mediation is futile at this point. It is our substandard leadership at this point. We're pleading with you, make changes. Our directors should be out there trying to get money for equipment and to fix this facility, another officer said to the governor. Our facility is junk. It's so bad. Our sprinkler system doesn't work. The fire sprinkler system was a major point of contention in the U.S. Department of Justice consent decree against the prison. Our facility cannot handle any more prisoners, the officer continued. The officer told the governor that the crowding issue is so bad that inmates are being mixed with detainees, calling it a major security and safety problem both for the inmates and detainees and for the officers. She said that several cell units cannot be used because of plumbing and electrical problems. There's also a major problem with the so-called radio system the officers are forced to use to communicate with each other across the sprawling facility. Unlike the professional radios regularly used by law enforcement that work on closed circuits, DOC officers are using cheaper retail push-to-talk cellular phones that often go offline and prevent officers from calling in incidents or to get help when an unsafe situation arises. It is hazardous, the officer said. Several officers told the governor they fear retaliation and that some have been retaliated against because they spoke up about the lack of supplies to do their jobs and their disagreements with the director about operational decisions she's made. One of the officers told the governor of an incident involving an inmate acting beyond control and who had begun punching the concrete walls. The inmate was so strong that the concrete walls began to break. He said that the officer on duty was the only one posted at that particular unit and had called the director for backup and to activate the Special Operations Response Team, which the director had disbanded. No relief was sent by the director. That officer had to wait for a shift change hours later in order for the next officer to assist him to control the situation. Quote, I cannot work for her. I'm scared for these guys, he pleaded with the governor. Ms. Leongoro also told officers that it was her decision, not Ms. Brennan's, to place DOC Warden Alan Borja on administrative leave. Quote, the reason I took the warden off is because of the escapee situation, end quote, she told the officers. And it needed to be investigated, so I decided to take him off because of objectivity. It isn't because I don't like him or any of that. I don't know who the warden is. Ms. Leongoro's administration may be a problem. She does not have direct supervision over the warden, who is a classified employee. We've had the privilege of serving with the warden, ma'am, and we can assure you it's not in his nature to be corrupted, one of the officers told the governor in Mr. Borja's defense. Another officer asked his colleagues whether anyone among them feel the warden is corrupt. They exclaimed in unison, no. Since the beginning, I said management is full of bleep. One officer told the governor out of frustration. He explained to the governor that when Miss Brennan started her job and began curving overtime, he didn't have an issue with that. It was her other measures that placed strains on the officers and kept life-saving equipment and supplies from them that has made the situation at the prison terrible. Why do we need to save nickels and dimes when you guys already know the Department of Corrections is short? The management we have, they can go screw themselves, he told the governor. What kind of managers do we have? Micromanagers is what we have. The governor responded, I just want to say I really don't appreciate your language. I understand your anger, but I'm also trying here to understand where you're coming from. And we cannot be dialoguing if you're going to be talking unprofessionally. I'm going to talk to Sam about the concerns you've raised, the governor said. And rest assured, I won't say your names because I don't even know who you are.
Where do you want to begin with this story? Because I want to...
She doesn't know who anybody is. Nobody.
Have you read the comments on this story? A lot of people are very offended by that.
I would be too.
It's like, how do you not know your own people? The people who risk their lives for this community.
And then guys, don't feel bad. After watching her treat Nick Delgado the way he did, I don't feel bad how she treats my cello. At least she said, Nick, stop asking me questions, Nick.
I do. So you want to talk about any part of this story first, and then we'll get to that.
How the men and women at DOC, their lives are in danger.
And they very clearly said that to her.
They need to jump on it. I don't know what it's going to take, but according to PNC, the Robert Koss, the union, filed something at the Department of Justice or the prison of something.
The Bureau of Prisons?
Yes.
Well, there are some very interesting things that were said there. One was the fire sprinkler system's not working.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big violation of the consent decree. There was also the plumbing and the electrical systems are not working in some of the units.
Mm-hmm.
I believe what we didn't put in the story, but what that one guard said was, yeah, the locks work. That's the locks for the doors and the what do you call that thing? The
Jail cell?
Yeah, but what do you call that? The gate or whatever for the jail? Anyway, the locks work, but they can't use those cells because the plumbing and the electricity doesn't work in those cells. And so that leads to an even bigger issue with crowding, and they're mixing inmates and detainees. And so...
That's a no-no.
Yeah, yeah. And so if the government of Guam doesn't show that it is trying to rectify this situation, and it's not just that, I mean, of course, there's the issue with 70 inmates to one officer, and it's not like they have two officers in one unit. They only have one officer sometimes, which is, it's a huge problem. I think they're not even allowed to have weapons inside the prison, right? Is that a thing? Their guns?
I thought you were allowed.
I don't know. I'm not sure. That's just something someone's told me. I'm not sure. But these are big problems. It is no wonder the governor
This is
did
a crisis.
It's no wonder the governor did not want to say anything about it, because these are sensitive issues, and it's a big problem.
Nick, if I was in her position, I would have said, Nick, there's a lot of sensitive issues, but I want the people of Guam to know that their safety is my concern. And these officers, we will do what we can to rectify these situations. They have my word.
And she should have also took the opportunity to talk to the officers' families through Nick Delgado, so that he could report to them that she's going to do something about this. But no, she wanted to keep this. First of all, there is questions about whether this was even a legal meeting because of the open government law. But these officers wanted to talk to her in private because they feared retaliation. So it's like, you know, maybe we can overlook that or something. But I'm sure their voices want to be heard. They want action. That's why they agreed to meet with the governor without the director present and without the deputy director present. And they have big problems with the director and the deputy director. They have big problems with the governor's decision to place Warden Alan Borja on administrative leave. And I believe it's 3 or 4 other officers who were placed on administrative leave. We are going to try and cut this audio so that you can hear the governor's voice in them, and because you did a good job impersonating her voice at the end there. That really is what it did. That really is what it sounded like.
You know, if I was the officer and she said, "I won't," rest assured, I won't even say your names because I don't even know who you are, I would have said, "Well, sit here for another 5 minutes because I want you to know who I am."
That was so bad.
Where is her communications people?
It was so bad. It was so
Where
bad.
is her communications people that does not get paid by taxpayer money?
Well, you know what? That is a perfect segue into the next part of this conversation regarding this administration. Kandit Jacob Nakamura found an old clip of an interview that I had with Janela Carrera where she talks about how she's not paid by the taxpayers. Let's hear that clip now. Sorry guys, I don't know, the thing switched to Wi-Fi, doesn't have a strong connection, so I'm back at LTE. Well, we'll make some phone calls. It's oatmeal. Hi, everyone.
Holiday Communications.
Hi, Janela. It's Troy.
Hey, Troy.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, good. You know, it's
Friday?
Friday. It's almost the weekend.
Hey, so I sent you the 3 things that I was going to ask you about to follow up on.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Remember our agreement? I was going to, let you know first before I call you live.
Oh, okay.
So-
I'm just seeing it now. So.
Oh, sorry. Well, you're live. Say hi.
Hello. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday. So, this is following up on our questions from a while. And the first is going to be on whether after, it's been over 24 hours now, has the governor started to consider the idea of lowering the gross receipts tax back to 4% and in replacing it with an increase in the corporate income tax of 10%.
Well, so with regards to the gross receipts, you know, and I think the governor made this clear yesterday, and she's also said this previously, that with the increase in the BPT to 5%, we've seen that it has definitely benefited us.
Benefited who?
The government.
Oh, the government of Guam.
The government of Guam, the people of Guam.
No, I don't think it's an accurate statement to say the people of Guam.
Well, that's your opinion.
I'm going to fast forward it to the point that really matters, and so here it goes.
Means that, you know, Francis it's because Francis was the former campaign manager.
So then what is the reason?
Why they received 25.7?
Yes,
Those were claims that were outstanding all the way back from 2016.
What about the outstanding claims from pharmaceutical companies to GMH?
GMH has been paid on a timely basis.
No, is GMH paying its bills timely? I don't think so. For real? Your payables over at GMH. Okay, we're having problems with that. It's not a big deal because that's just Janela saying that she is not paid by the taxpayers. If you want to see that, it's somewhere on our Facebook page. Jacob Nakamura had to find it. It's like, I don't know, maybe it was like 3 or 4 months back that Janela and I had this big argument.
You remember what the time was there, and I'll cue it up?
No, it's clipped at just that one section. It's okay, don't worry about it. Or if you see a second clip in the email that Jacob sent, it's there.
Yeah, let me check.
So, yeah, let's just wait for that. Because I want to tie this together to what happened to Nick Delgado today, or yesterday, when he tried to interview the governor, and just
She didn't send that to me, too.
how
I'm sending it now.
ridiculous it is that all happened, and it really starts with the attitude of this administration, and what they think, not just of the reporters and the newsrooms, but really what they think of the people of Guam. It's not even just indicative of it. It just is. Well, we're almost getting the clip?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll just wait for it. It's worth the hear or the watch.
I sent it from,
Email?
yeah, from news.
Oh, okay. Stand by.
Sorry, guys.
Even Bernsey.
Someone got burned? Who?
My finger. Look at it. See it?
I can see someone else's finger going up in front of your face.
I had a long freaking day. Okay? My ears are. Oh,
Okay, let's hear Bubbles Carrera.
Means that, Francis Sant, it's because Francis was the former campaign manager.
So then what is the reason?
Why they received 25.7?
Yes,
Those
what is the
were
reason?
claims that were outstanding all the way back from 2016.
What about the outstanding claims from pharmaceutical companies to GMH?
GMH has been paid on a timely basis.
No, is GMH paying its bills timely? I don't think so. Your payables over at GMH are horrendous.
We are reimbursing them for Medicaid claims.
Yes, Medicaid money pays for pharmaceutical
not for
bills.
who they're paying on their accounts payable. We are reimbursing them based on the claims that they submit, and so that's completely different, Troy.
No, it's not.
It is.
Money is money,
If they
Janela.
submit claims for Medicaid, we do a utilization review process, and then we reimburse them based on what they're submitting to us.
What is this utilization process? Why don't you explain to our viewers?
Troy.
No, this is a legitimate question.
Okay.
What is
Help
the
me understand here.
What is
Help me
the
understand
utilization?
here.
What is the
You
utilization
are
process?
asking me questions you know the answers to.
Well, I would like our audience to know the answer. I would
And
like our
you're
audience to know
hoping
that you know what you're
would-
talking
that
about.
I would somehow
you need
answer you,
tell us whether you know what you're talking about,
incorrectly
because I don't
so
think
that
most of the
I
time
would
you
look
know what you're
dumb,
talking about.
And then you can go on your show and say Janela is dumb. She's incompetent.
Well, I think sometimes you are, Janela.
Okay. And how do you expect me to be responding to you?
By getting the answers.
Do you really expect me to be friendly and
No,
always want to
I
take your
don't.
calls?
No, I
if
don't.
you're
I just expect
constantly
you.
berating
I
me
expect you
and
to do your
calling me
job.
names?
I expect you to do your job, and I do not
I
call you
also
names.
expect you to be respectful respectful, Troy. I also expect it to be ethical.
Hey, I don't care.
And to be fair.
Hey, I don't care what you expect of me because you should have no
Well, then,
expectation
I'm sorry.
of me.
This works both ways.
No, it
If you
doesn't.
don't- if
You're
you
the
don't
public
care
servant.
about what I expect of you, how do you expect me to care?
Because you're paid by tax dollars. I'm not.
I am not paid by tax dollars to answer your
You're not
every
paid
phone
by
call.
tax
I'm
dollars.
not paid by tax dollars to be at your every whim.
Sure, but you're paid by tax dollars to be at the people's whim.
And I am doing my job.
You're not answering any questions. How are you doing your
Answering your phone
job?
calls at 10 p.m. at night, Troy, is not part of my job. Answering your phone calls on a Saturday
Is part of your
after you call
job.
me repeatedly and call me names
Answering
repeatedly
your
is not part of my
phone
job.
on a Saturday and a Sunday is absolutely part of your job. Absolutely.
Troy,
It's called
you call
Director
me
of
almost every single day,
Communications.
and I answer your phone calls.
Okay, good for
I
you.
have days off too.
So answer
I
the
have time
question.
off too.
Answer the. Did you sign for leave the last time you were on vacation?
Yes.
Where are your leave documents?
Troy, we're going to go there now.
Yeah.
That's where we're going with this.
Because it's part of your job.
Troy, I am here more than 8 hours a day.
You know, a lot of people would take your salary and gladly answer their phone on Saturday and Sunday.
Absolutely. I'm sure a lot of people want this job.
Good. I'm glad you recognize that. So I'm sure you would recognize that you should answer your phone on Saturdays and Sundays, but more importantly, that you should answer questions directly and truthfully.
Troy.
So it's all fun and games with Kandit, but
That is the reality we are living in right now.
when I saw what happened to Nick Delgado, now Nick works for a competing news organization, the Guam Daily Post, which I have a lot of respect for. I read the Post, and it's not like Nick and I are friends or anything, but we are professional colleagues. And when I saw what the governor did to Nick Delgado, my heart sank for him and for the Guam Daily Post, but more importantly, for the people of this island, because that is symbolic of what this administration thinks of the people of this island, just completely disrespects in such an arrogant way, not even with any subtlety whatsoever, the people of this island, that the governor believes that she doesn't have to tell the people the truth. She believes that she does not have to disclose public information to the people of this island, and that as she goes about trying to repair the havoc that she and her directors have caused because of their incompetency and because of their arrogance, that she doesn't need to tell people about that. That she's just going to do it on her own terms, because she is the Queen of Sheba.
Owns Guam.
Yeah.
Or she owns Guam like she owned the bank.
Forever. And so it just really pissed me off when I saw what happened to Nick Delgado, because that guy is a journalist trying to get the truth for the people. And the governor absolutely, and all of her people, absolutely have a duty to tell the journalist what the answer is to the journalist's questions. And for her to just run away, like she ran away from us, to just run away from Nick Delgado, get in her car and just dismiss him and say, she tells him, stop asking me questions. Lady, who do you think you are? You're not going to tell Nick Delgado that. He doesn't work for you. Your demands do not matter to the editorial board of the Guam Daily Post. And that's for a reason. You call yourself a public servant. You said that you are running for governor to be a servant of the people, yet you act like you are the dictator of all things, Guam. And then you wonder why people don't like you, why people are saying they're no longer in, why people say that you're the worst governor ever. Maybe it's because you get what you dish out.
How was that dinner, that $1,000 dinner? How was that turn out? That was her anniversary of being the governor.
On the heels of her announcement that she's running for re-election. You know, let me just remind you, Governor Leon Guerrero, because I know you watch or your people tell you about whatever, and that's why you're probably so angry. And grow some thick skin, woman. The media's job is to ask you the tough questions. But let me just remind you, Governor.
You think it's because when people come at her like this, she can't speak? She needs it written out for her? I think maybe that's what it is.
I don't know. Some people say incompetence. Some people say arrogance.
Or it could be a fake. It's a facade that she needs it written out so that they can make it sound good. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That
yeah.
when you confront her, and it's not planned or it's not timed.
It's not on her terms.
It's not on her terms.
Looked like she was throwing like a tantrum.
She was. The same thing that happened with Michael Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
The meeting with Michael Nicholas.
Staged.
That if Michael was to lead that conversation, everybody would have known how really incompetent she was. And it came out that day of the meeting. She could not let Michael speak. She couldn't let the congressman speak because he couldn't lead that. She didn't want to give him a chance to lead that meeting because it'll show how incompetent she is.
We all need to step back for a second and remember something about journalism and about the government of Guam. Yes, the public servants or the bureaucrats within the government of Guam, they go to work every day. For the most part, they go to work every day. They do a great job with few resources, without much management, much good management, without proper leadership. They try as they may, and especially like those DOC officers, like GPD officers. If they don't have proper leadership, it's not going to be easy for them to do their jobs. And many times, these bureaucrats in the government of Guam, they do great things. Many times, the police department is able to close a cold case because of the investment of time and work and a commitment to excellence that these officers put in. Mm-hmm. In the case of the DOC escapes, the warden and another correctional officer were there to apprehend the escapees and to bring them in peacefully without incident.
Yeah.
In the case of so many prosecutions of pretty bad people who should not be on the streets, the prosecutors at the Attorney General's office, they've been able to, but just, I want everyone to remember something about the role of journalism in this community. If it wasn't for a journalist, Christina Nicholas, who was murdered by her father when she was 12 years old when he drowned her at the Lonfit River, would have been classified as just a drowning. If it wasn't for a journalist who saw the differences in the reports between GPD and GFD in the interviews of her father, she would not be a memory anywhere except that she was a girl who drowned in the Lonfit River. If it wasn't for a journalist, Brett Kelman, the local prosecution of police officers who were found to be abusing the color of their authority would never have happened. It was Brett Kelman it was a journalist from the PDN that led everyone down that Blue House case. If it wasn't for a journalist, the corruption charges brought against several people in the Gutierrez administration that led to several convictions, including Sonny Shelton, a former senator, a couple of other former senators. If it wasn't for a journalist doing the job that the government of Guam failed to do and they were trying to hide information left and right. They were trying to say that they were the ones who would lead the investigation and they knew how to do their jobs and media stay out of it. If it wasn't for a journalist, those corruption charges would have never been brought. No one would have known what was going on. The dark, sinister motives of people conducted in back rooms where the light don't shine would have never been brought to light if it wasn't for a journalist. Journalists have done some great things for this community, and all Nick Delgado was trying to do was something good for this community by revealing what the truth was, and the governor scurried away from him like he didn't matter. No, Governor, you don't matter. You're the useless one. You are the Calacas one, not Nick Delgado and the Guam Daily Post just trying to do their jobs. It's unbelievable. You people have no idea what it means to govern or to lead. Biba Guam says Josh would have been a better governor.
Yeah, yeah. And Jacob says, to be fair, Lou has given us the Lou flu.
The real Joe Cruz says Troy has a point.
You do.
Hi, Amy Jane Suda, who says good morning from Phoenix. Half a day. Josephine Perez Blas says half a day, half a day. Brad Hewitt says impeachment hearings starting now, gotta go. Oh, they're starting the impeachment hearings on President Trump? Oh. Amy Jean Suda says she said she was there for the people of Guam, but looks like she's there for herself. Jacob says shine the light in the darkness. People Guam says it's probably her menopause.
Just press play.
Oh, you just made me miss my dad. That's the joke my dad would have told. You just got that? Jacob Nakamura says, no, Johnny, it's because she thinks she is better than us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jacob says, Janella works for me, she works for you, she works for us. Well, I mean, that's what she's supposed to be doing, but obviously she doesn't. I believe 95% of the requests for information that we've sent to the administration have gone unanswered. There are bright spots like Daphne Shimizu, who normally answers our questions. Hopefully, we're going to get an interview from the chief of police this week regarding some outstanding issues of certain crimes and also this whole gambling thing. You know, we're crossing our fingers that Chief Steve Ignacio is not following in Governor Luliangaro's footsteps and is a more or less transparent chief of police who will grant us this interview. I don't know, Chella. I'm upset at how the governor treated Nick Delgado.
I know.
I don't like that at all, and it has nothing to do with because I mean, Nick's not even my friend or anything. Guam Daily Post. I mean, it's not like we benefit from them at all. We're kind of like competitors or whatever. But this is about the job that we all have to present information and the truth to the people of Guam, and if they're going to true colors, absolutely, yeah. Remember when I believe it was Chief Paul Suba got a warrant from a judge to raid the KUAM newsroom, and remember the media came to the defense of KUAM. I remember that very clearly. This is the same thing. We should all be coming to the defense of the Guam Daily Post and what they were trying to do. That's ridiculous. It's wrong on so many levels. Anyway, Brad Hewitt says, I don't think Janella is properly getting it at home. Oh my God, I just realized what he said. She's awfully grouchy. Oh my goodness. Bibo Guam says, save all videos for the 2022 election. You better believe we are. James Howard calls her the Emperor. Jacob Nakamura says, I am not paid by tax dollars. A quotation from spokeswoman for Governor Lulian Guerrero, Janella Bubbles Carrera. James Howard says of the governor, she looked at him, Nick Delgado, like trash. I think Jacob Nakamura is going to ask for Janella's timesheets. He says, Dear Janella, this request is made. FOIA, FOIA, FOIA. Oh, Jacob, I have a confession. I got lazy and I never sent that request for the the timesheets. Sorry. But maybe we should now, right? I'm guessing you are going to do that. Does this woman think the public works for her? Very clearly in that interview. Brad Hewitt says, boom, you are the public servant. Jacob says, if the shoe fits, Bubbles. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Do you have anything else? No? We really appreciate your time. Sorry about the rough patches throughout the newscast. Oh, that's right. Thank you to some of our family and some of you out there who have decided to make anonymous donations through our website, www.kanditnews.com. We very much appreciate the support. I think it's like an icon or something on the right side of the screen or something, right? and it says, what does it say?
Donate.
Oh, it says donate. Okay. So if you guys want to do that, please donate to candidnews.com. Feel free. Feel free. Well, feel money to.
And it means a lot. The little messages of support. It really does help us here.
Also, I'm going to be making a funeral announcement and posting it on Kandit. My mom's husband, who is the father of my younger siblings, he passed away a couple of days ago, and so first, all my love to my mother and to my siblings. And his name is Juan Baza. He was suffering for some time, and so the Lord took him. And we'll have more information about the rosaries and the funeral services for him probably by tomorrow. Otherwise, I believe
Good
that's
night,
all.
Guam. We
love
you.
you.